The rain hadn't stopped for 3 days. In a hospital boardroom on the 11th floor, 47-year-old Miriam Chan sat perfectly still, her hands folded on the glass table before her. Across from her, a man was trembling. Not from cold, from recognition. Dr. Daniel Carter's eyes kept darting to her face, then away, then back again, as if he couldn't quite believe what he was seeing. His mouth opened twice before any sound came out. Miriam. She didn't smile. Didn't flinch. Just looked at him the way you'd look at a stranger whose name you'd forgotten. Dr. Carter, she said evenly. Welcome to Memorial Hospital. I'm the Chief Operations Director. We'll be working together now. The folder in his hand slipped, papers scattering across the polished floor. And in that moment, watching him scramble to pick them up, Miriam felt something she hadn't felt in 8 years. Peace. Because the man who once told her she wasn't enough for his world was now in hers. And this time she held all the cards. But to understand how we got here, we need to go back. Back to when they were young. Back to when love felt like enough. Back to the moment she made a choice that would cost her everything. Before we dive deeper, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you. And if you're new here, click on the subscribe button so you never miss any of our upcoming videos. 15 years earlier, Miriam was 29 years old and working double shifts at Riverside Nursing Home. Her back ached constantly. Her feet were swollen by noon. She smelled like industrial soap and overcooked vegetables, and most nights she came home too tired to even cry. But she never complained, because waiting for her in their cramped studio apartment was Daniel, 26, brilliant, and completely broke. They'd met at a community health fair where he was volunteering. She'd watched him explain blood pressure readings to an elderly woman with such patience, such genuine care, that something in her chest had cracked open. When he smiled at her later, holding 2 terrible cups of free coffee, she knew. This man was going to be someone. I got in, he told her 6 months into their relationship, his hands shaking as he held the acceptance letter. Medical school. Full acceptance to State Medical University. She'd screamed. Actually screamed. They'd danced in that tiny kitchen until the downstairs neighbor banged on the ceiling. Then reality hit. The tuition deposit is $12,000, Daniel said quietly that night, sitting on the edge of their bed. Due in 6 weeks. And that's just the deposit. The full year is $48,000. We'll figure it out, Miriam said. My parents can't help. My credit's too new for loans. I already tried. Daniel, look at me. She took his face in her hands. We will figure this out. But we really meant she. The next morning Miriam went to 3 different banks. All rejected her loan application. Her salary was too low. Her credit history too thin. She sat in her car outside the 3rd bank and cried until her shift started. Then she made a decision. Her mother had died 2 years earlier, leaving her a small box of jewelry. Nothing extravagant. A pearl necklace. A gold bracelet. A pair of diamond earrings her father had given her mother on their 20th anniversary. They're yours now, her mother had whispered near the end. For your wedding day. For your daughter. For something that matters. Miriam sold them all. The necklace brought in $4,000. The bracelet, $3,200. The earrings, the ones her mother had treasured most, sold for $5,800. She walked into that apartment with $12,000 in a bank envelope and placed it in Daniel's hands. What is this? He whispered. Your future, she said simply. Miriam, where did you get? He stopped. His eyes went to her bare neck. Her empty wrists. No, you didn't. They were just things, Daniel. You're my person. This is what people do for the ones they love. He broke down. Actually collapsed to his knees, sobbing against her legs, promising he'd pay her back, promising he'd make her proud, promising forever. She believed every word. Medical school started that fall. Miriam picked up a 3rd weekend shift. She learned to survive on 5 hours of sleep. Learned to make a dollar stretch across 3 meals. Learned to smile through exhaustion. Daniel studied 80 hours a week. When he came home, he was hollow-eyed and stressed, carrying textbooks thicker than bricks and fears heavier than failure. I'm drowning, he told her one night during his first semester. Everyone else has tutors. Study groups with people who actually understand this. I'm barely keeping up. You're not barely anything, Miriam said firmly. She was cooking rice and canned beans again because it was all they could afford. You're extraordinary. You're just tired. Here. She set a plate in front of him. Eat. Then tell me what you're studying. Explain it to me like I'm your patient. You wouldn't understand the. Try me. So he did. He talked about the cardiovascular system, about cellular respiration, about pharmacology. And she listened. Asked questions. Forced him to simplify until the concepts made sense. You know what? He said hours later, looking at her with wonder. That actually helped. You helped. That's what I'm here for, she said. And for 4 years that's what she did. She worked. She supported. She sacrificed. She wore the same coat for 3 winters. She cut her own hair. She said no to every invitation, every birthday dinner, every girl's weekend, because there was no money and no time for anything except keeping Daniel afloat. Her friends stopped calling. Her dreams got smaller. But his got bigger. And she told herself that was enough. Then came residency. Daniel matched at a prestigious hospital 3 hours away. Different city. Different world. Miriam couldn't follow. Her job, their apartment, their entire life was here. It's only 3 years, he assured her. We'll make it work. People do long distance all the time. But distance does something to people. It creates space. And into that space other things creep in. The first year he came home twice a month. They video called every night. He still said, I love you before hanging up. The second year visits dropped to once a month. Calls became texts. I love you became talk soon. The third year Miriam noticed something in his voice. A detachment. A coldness that hadn't been there before. You sound different, she said during one of their increasingly rare phone calls. I'm tired, Miriam. Residency is brutal. You wouldn't understand. That phrase. You wouldn't understand. He'd started saying it more and more. Then help me understand, she said quietly. I can't. You're not in this world. You don't see what I see every day. The pressure. The expectations. The people I'm surrounded by. What people? Silence. Daniel. What people? Colleagues. Other residents. People who get it. Her stomach dropped. Are you seeing someone? What? No. God, Miriam, why do you always have to make things difficult? I just asked a question. And I'm just trying to survive this program. But instead of supporting me, you're interrogating me. This is exactly what I'm talking about. You don't understand the position I'm in. She wanted to scream. Wanted to remind him that she understood poverty. Understood sacrifice. Understood working until your body gave out. That she understood giving up everything for someone else's dream. But she just said, I'm sorry. You're right. I'm proud of you. Because that's what she always said. Even when he stopped earning it. The end came on a Tuesday. He drove home without warning. Walked into the apartment in the middle of her shift. She'd gotten called in early, so she was exhausted, still in her scrubs, heating up leftover soup. We need to talk, he said. Those 4 words. The worst 4 words. Okay, she said slowly, turning off the stove. He sat down. Didn't look at her. Just stared at his hands like they held a script he'd memorized. This isn't working anymore. What isn't working? Us. This. I've been trying to figure out how to say this for months, and I can't keep pretending. Her heart was hammering. Pretending what? That we're still compatible. We've grown in different directions, Miriam. I'm building a medical career. You're still working at the nursing home. We don't want the same things anymore. I want you, she said, and her voice broke. I've always wanted you. Everything I've done has been for us. That's the problem. It's been for me. You've made me your entire life. And that's not healthy. You don't have ambitions. You don't have dreams. You just have me. The cruelty of it stole her breath. I gave up my dreams to support yours, she whispered. I never asked you to do that. You took it though. You took every dollar. Every sacrifice. Every piece of me I gave you. And now you're telling me it wasn't enough. I'm telling you I've outgrown this relationship. He finally looked at her. His eyes were empty. I need someone who can match where I'm going. Someone from my world. Someone who understands the life I'm building. I helped you build that life. And I'm grateful. I am. But gratitude isn't love, Miriam. And whatever we had, it's over. He stood up. Started packing his things. She sat frozen, watching him move through their apartment like a stranger. Taking only what was his. Leaving behind 8 years like they were nothing. Daniel, she said as he reached the door. Did you ever really love me? He paused. For just a second. Then without turning around he said, I thought I did. But I was young. I didn't know what love was supposed to feel like. The door closed. And Miriam collapsed. If you're still watching up to now, type, I'm still here in the comment section. The months that followed were the darkest of her life. She couldn't eat. Couldn't sleep. Couldn't stop replaying every moment, every conversation, searching for the exact second she'd lost him. Her supervisor at work noticed her weight loss. The hollow look in her eyes. You need to take some time, Margaret said gently. Go somewhere. Breathe. You can't keep going like this. But where was she supposed to go? She had no savings. No family. No friends she hadn't abandoned while building Daniel's dreams. She had nothing. Except rage. It started small. A simmer. Then it grew. Burned. Consumed. She'd lie awake at night, scrolling through social media, watching Daniel's new life unfold in perfect squares. Vacation in the Bahamas. New luxury car. And then 6 months after he left, the announcement that broke something fundamental inside her. Engaged. To Dr. Rebecca Fitzgerald. Blonde. Beautiful. From a family of physicians. Everything Miriam wasn't. The caption read, To new beginnings with my best friend, my partner, my equal. Equal. That word sat in her chest like broken glass. She'd never been his equal. She'd been his foundation. His stepping stone. His bridge to a better life. And now she was nothing. But here's what Daniel didn't know about Miriam. What he'd never bothered to learn. She was stronger than her kindness suggested. And pain, real pain, doesn't destroy everyone. Sometimes it rebuilds them. At 42 years old, Miriam walked into the admissions office at City College and enrolled in a healthcare administration program. People laughed. Actually laughed. You're starting over now? At your age? Yes, she said simply. She worked mornings at the nursing home, attended classes in the afternoon, studied late into the night. She had no life, no distractions, just a singular burning focus. Prove him wrong. Not to get him back. She didn't want him back. She wanted to become someone he could never diminish again. Her first semester she earned a 4.0. Second semester the same. Professors started noticing her. Not because she was the oldest student in class, but because she was the most dedicated. You have a real gift for this, Dr. Helena Marcos told her after a particularly complex presentation on hospital resource allocation. Have you considered pursuing this professionally? Administration? Leadership? That's the plan, Miriam said. And she meant it. 2 years later, she graduated summa cum laude. 3 months after that, she was hired as an operations coordinator at a mid-sized hospital. Within a year, she was promoted to department manager. Within 3 years, she was being recruited by larger institutions. She cut her hair, updated her wardrobe, carried herself with a confidence that came from knowing she'd built this herself. No one had handed her anything. No one had sacrificed for her. She'd done it alone. And that made it mean everything. When Memorial Hospital offered her the Chief Operations Director position at 47, she didn't hesitate. It was one of the most prestigious hospitals in the state. The kind of place that attracted the best physicians. The kind of place that had just absorbed a private medical practice group to expand their services. She walked into that boardroom on her first day, ready to meet the new physicians joining the staff. And there he was, Dr. Daniel Carter. Older, graying at the temples, but unmistakably him. The shock on his face was immediate, total. His mouth opened and closed like a fish drowning in air. Miriam, he finally managed. She let the silence stretch. Let him squirm. Then with a calm that surprised even her she said, Dr. Carter, welcome to Memorial Hospital. I'm the Chief Operations Director. We'll be working together now. The other physicians in the room shifted uncomfortably, sensing tension they couldn't name. Daniel looked like he might be sick. I didn't know you worked here, he stammered. I didn't when you applied, she said smoothly. I started 2 weeks ago. But don't worry. I run a professional operation. Your past won't affect your position here. As long as your work is exemplary. That last word landed like a threat, because they both knew what it meant. Over the following months, Miriam watched Daniel's facade crack. His marriage, the one that had looked so perfect on social media, was crumbling. Rebecca had filed for divorce. Rumors circulated about infidelity, about financial problems. about malpractice concerns in his previous practice. None of it brought Miriam joy, but it did bring perspective. Then the investigation started. The hospital's compliance department flagged irregularities in billing from Daniel's practice group, upcoding, unnecessary procedures. His oversight had been negligent at best, fraudulent at worst. A disciplinary review panel was convened. Miriam sat on it, not because she'd manipulated the system, but because it was literally her job. The irony wasn't lost on either of them. During the hearing, Daniel couldn't look at her. He stammered through explanations, blamed subordinates, blamed the system, blamed everyone but himself. "Dr. Carter," Miriam said when he finished, her voice level, "you've built an impressive career. But careers built on cutting corners rarely last. The board's recommendation is termination of your contract, effective immediately." He looked up then. Really looked at her. "Miriam, please. You know me. You know I'm not." "I knew you," she corrected quietly. 15 years ago. I knew a man who was hungry and humble and willing to work for his dreams. I don't know who you became after that." His face crumpled. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "For everything. For how I treated you. For what I said. You deserved so much better." "Yes," she agreed. "I did." She stood gathering her files. "Wait," he said desperately. "Is there anything I can do? Any way to fix this?" She paused at the door. "You could start by being the man I once believed you were. The one who cared about patients more than prestige. The one who understood that people aren't disposable. I was that man because of you," he said, tears streaming now. "You made me believe I could be someone. And I threw it all away." "No, Daniel. You threw me away. You became someone in spite of that. But you never learned the difference between success and character. And that's why you're here now." She opened the door. "I hope you find someone who believes in you the way I once did. But more than that, I hope you learn to believe in yourself for the right reasons." Then she walked out and didn't look back. In the months that followed, Miriam heard through hospital gossip that Daniel had moved to another state, taken a position at a smaller clinic. Apparently, he was volunteering at free health fairs on weekends, trying to reconnect with why he'd wanted to become a doctor in the first place. She didn't know if it was genuine or just image rehabilitation. She didn't care. Because she'd learned the most important lesson life could teach. You can't build someone else's dreams without losing yourself. And when they leave, they take nothing that truly matters. Because what truly matters, your strength, your resilience, your worth, was always yours. They just made you forget for a while. Miriam's life now was full in ways that had nothing to do with romance. She mentored young administrators, served on nonprofit boards, traveled, read, learned piano. She dated occasionally. Nothing serious. She wasn't looking for someone to complete her. She was already whole. One afternoon, sitting in her office overlooking the city, she received a LinkedIn message. From Daniel. It was short. "Thank you for teaching me what I should have learned from the beginning. That the people who lift us up deserve to be lifted in return. I'm sorry I learned it too late. I hope you're well. I hope you're happy. You deserve everything." She read it twice, then deleted it. Not out of anger, but because some chapters don't need closure. They just need to end. So here's what I want you to think about. If you were in Miriam's position, would you have helped him again? Would you have shown mercy in that boardroom? Or would you have let karma run its course? And more importantly, do you believe karma is real? Or is it just consequences catching up? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one, and I'd love to hear your perspective on this. If this story touched you, if it made you think, if it reminded you of your own worth, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button. Click the bell so you never miss our upcoming stories. Give this video a thumbs up. And share it with someone who needs to hear this today. Because stories like this aren't just entertainment. They're reminders that the people who truly love you will never make you feel small. That sacrifice without appreciation is just loss. And that the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's becoming so completely, undeniably yourself that the person who left becomes irrelevant. Miriam didn't win because Daniel failed. She won because she refused to stay broken. And that's the kind of victory that lasts forever. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.